Hi friends, have coffee with me. Part 2, but really you can just go on this one. I've elaborated further of how this giant Excel file that you live in for the one organization owned by 12 families is written out on an organization chart, which is how they do it in every organization. Every business follows this. It's a hierarchy, right? You get the board of directors, the CEO, you get the vice presidents and the presidents and the managers and all the regional guys. They're all fucking dickheads. They meet every year at any company. Any large organization will meet every year. They'll get all the big wigs in one giant room. They all travel together. They all get drunk. They meet at some location and they talk about all of their fuck-ups. And they say, I promise I'll do better next year, boss. They never do they? They're still, well, anywho. Okay, so I've written it out. So those 12 families, let's call them the Imperial, okay? They're at the top. That's the board of directors. That's the real CEO. I'm the realist, right? We'll call that the Imperial. Now, when you talk about this giant Excel file, because everyone has a number attached to them, you're somewhere in here as an employee with your, and not just an employee, even if you don't work, guess what? Your social security number in America, that's how they track you in this giant Excel file. My guess is the Imperial starts in Excel file when they classify everything with the Fibonacci sequence, right? So the Imperial is listed as 0, 0.1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on and so forth. Everybody has a number associated with them. This is one giant Excel file where you're talking about different cost centers. It's one giant accounting ledger, and they move around their money. This is all owned by the same. They just move their money around, and they convince you of other shit. So anyway. How does this work? I drew this for you. In business, when giant fucking global companies have to separate all of their departments, right? Like you probably work somewhere and there's supply chain, there's logistics, there's HR, there's safety. Those are different departments. They're different cost centers in the giant Excel file of their money. Well, we have 7 business units. When you have a company that large, they call them business units, and there's a lot of departments under those business units. But a business unit, it's essentially one fucking huge department. All right, well, how does it work with the Imperial, the True North, right? The giant company that owns us all, and we're all just their worker bees. There's 7 continents, which is 7 business units, except Antarctica supposedly doesn't make any money. Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Africa, Europe, South America, North America. This is how it's set up. Here's the thing, though. We've got the board of directors, aka the true CEO, which is the 12 families. I don't know how they split this up. It's got to be a fight, almost like Game of Thrones. All right. And each of these continents have a president associated, a true president. Not like, oh, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. No. He's like the false president. Technically. Okay, he has no real power because he's still got to talk to the big boy upstairs. And be like, this is how I fucked up this year. Again, when these people meet every year, because every big company has a steering committee. That's where they get together. Again, they travel and they explain their fuck-ups. We, the Imperial, calls this the United Nations General Assembly. They meet every year. They get in one giant room and talk about their fuck-ups. And they're like, I'll do better. They never do. There's no accountability, there's no abilities. We talked about this in part 1. See, part 1, the only importance of it is I drew it out. This is more elaborate. So really, you could just stick with the part 2, but it's, it is what it is. Let's start with North America, the largest business unit, possibly. They make the most money. They only care about the business unit. They talk about the business units first and give them the most power that make the most money. If you're in the black, they don't talk about you. If you're in the red, they don't talk about you. They probably talk. So, black is where, red is you're at a loss, you're in debt, right? That's why they call Black Friday Black Friday. It's where the majority of these companies go from red, which is in debt, to black, which is they're making profits. My guess is the United States, I don't know. Also, Israel, that country, that's part of the business unit in Asia. And something tells me, I don't know why it's so important, but they must have their, company headquarters there. You know how every corporation has a headquarters? They always have a backup headquarter, too. I wonder where that is. Probably on the other side of the wall. Anyway, North America. So this is how it's actually set up. Donald Trump, yeah, he's a president, right? But really, he's a VP. There is a president attached to a true president. Someone probably within one of those royal families. Royal. With the Imperial Board of Directors. You've got North America that has 3 more branches, 3 more cost centers, 3 more departments, business units, whatever you want to call it. There's 7 business units, there's additional departments. You got a VP probably attached to each department or a false president. You've got the USA, Canada, and Mexico. That also has 50 states under the United States, which means there's another 50 fucking idiot managers running shit for each state. Senators, governors, mayors, right? It's a hierarchy. Everywhere you go, it's a hierarchy. Canada, they have 10 provinces and 3 territories, all right? So you got a VP of Canada, right, that's talking to the big boss upstairs, right? Saying, we're doing a great job, boss. We're doing a great job. And there's a manager. Well, if these are VPs, then you've probably got, I wonder what they classify these as in their Excel file, because they convolute the real names here. You've got a VP of Canada, VP of Mexico. You've got another 10 regional boys and managers under them, 10 provinces, 3 territories. Mexico has 32 federal entities, 31 states. That's another fucking 32 idiot managers trying to run shit. Don't worry about my safety. They can't come after me. I'm an untouchable asset. You'll figure that out. All right, South America, right? They've got a president, a true president of South America that's running that business unit, right? He's at the steering committee going, I don't know what the fuck happened. We sell coffee. But it seems to work because they're all addicted. Hey, I love you. You've got 12 regional managers fucking shit up everywhere. This is like Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador. It goes all the way through. Peru, Uruguay. Then you got this president of Europe, the true president of Europe, with 50 countries. That's another 50 regional managers fucking shit up, okay? 44 sovereign states. That's Albania, Andorra, Austria, Germany, France, Italy, Iceland. It goes on. And you've got a bunch of fucking idiot managers running all that shit too. Africa. You've got 54 countries. Nigeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, Madagascar. It goes on. And these are all managers underneath this. Now remember, there is a number that comes from this Excel file. This is the true matrix, right? It's a number in a giant Excel file. That's what the matrix is. Starts with a Fibonacci sequence, if I had to guess, with the imperial. Also the administrative assistant that actually has to track all this. I bet they're stressed smoking cigarettes. Awful. Doing a little cookie. How else would you keep track of a termination, when someone dies, when they move, when they get elected? Also, if you look into the lineage of the presidents of the United States, those VP lowball boys, remember, Donald Trump actually has to speak up to the big boy upstairs, the true president of North America, who has to then speak to the CEO board of directors, okay? My guess is the Imperial has another big boy in between all 7 business units. I don't know who that is, but I'd love to find out. Probably part of this headquarters over in Israel. Don't worry, they can't shoot me. Okay, where were we? Yeah, so they have a number associated with all of these. Inside of all of these is a number associated with each manager, each vice president, the people that run the countries, right? And then underneath those, you have businesses that again, business license, everything. It's like a giant game of Risk, but they're all on the same team. There's no real war here, people. There's no real treaties here, people. It's all an illusion to get your money and to explain weird events like war and other things. It's a risk board. Giant game of chess. Unless some of them really don't know. You think there's people, they all take oaths, though. They put their hand on that Bible in America when they're sworn in. Interesting. Interesting how that works, huh? All right. And you, like in America, with our idiot managers, I don't know how they're explaining this to the big boy upstairs, what's going on. Or they're taking direction from the big boy upstairs. Makes more sense. They have companies in here. You get your social security number. That's another number. They track you everywhere. Down to your IP address. Also follows the same sequence as social security numbers. And then you go work for a company and you get an employee ID number, right? You're just another company inside of one giant company's Excel file and you get another number attached to you. Imagine, I bet AI has to track this. Their administrative assistant is probably AI.